Good afternoon. My name is Adaora O-Njoku. I'm the CEO and founder of AMAKA. We're a platform that connects brands and businesses to remote creative talent. We're AI-powered, essentially leveraging AI and creativity to connect businesses to develop marketing solutions at scale. Just a bit of quick background about me. I am a former writer and photographer, and I know the first-hand experience of really just being misrepresented in the creative space and working with agencies, as well with lack of Black and African creative talent. And so what we aim to do with AMAKA Studio is working with large-scale brands as big as Nike, Volkswagen, YouTube, but also working with SMEs as well who are looking to have more affordable creative solutions and to be able to scale their brand. We wanted to be able to have a really impactful session where we're essentially looking at how we are building brands that AI can't replicate, which is beyond the bot. Artificial intelligence is rewriting the rules of marketing, but it really can't replace creativity. And it's really important that we have more autonomy and agency over our narrative, whilst leveraging AI to really expand and really scale our creativity. So that's why I'm really, really honored to welcome someone who's really living that truth, which is Ethan King. And he started out as a starving artist and turned his passion into multiple seven-figure businesses. And he's a former president of Entrepreneurs Organization Atlanta, a best-selling author, and a recognized expert on AI and automation. And together we're going to show you how to really harness technology without really losing your soul, how you can generate leads, and really build genuine connection and really stand out from the noise. So without further ado, please help me welcome Ethan King.
Are more powerful than you realize. Mr. Ethan King.
Ethan King.
Ethan King. Ethan King. Ethan King.
He is an author, a speaker, a designer, a mentor.
An absolute AI expert, serial entrepreneur,
Five-time EO Global Award winner, TEDx speaker. He's the best-selling author of Wealth Beyond Money and ChatGPT to double your business in 90 days.
Let me tell you, he totally changed my mind. What an amazing session.
In a world where automation is changing everything, he shows leaders how to build scalable systems that amplify human creativity. An international best-selling author and award-winning entrepreneur who helps you dominate in the age of AI. Please welcome to the stage, Ethan King.
What's up, AFRICON Global? Everybody doing today? Y'all have a good conference? All right. Okay, so let me get a show of hands of the founders, business founders in the room. Raise your hand. You're an entrepreneur or business founder. Okay, awesome, fantastic. So today we're really going to get down into the nitty-gritty about how to do more with less in your business. Because I don't know, if you're like me, scrappy bootstrap founder, like we don't have a lot of resources to go around. We got to figure out how to get it done, right? Does anybody feel that? So tell me this, just real quick, shoot out a word. What's the first word that comes to your mind when you hear AI? Automation. Chat, automation, scaling, time, augmentation, resourceful, disruption, easy, speed, innovation. All right, so what I've noticed, I go all around the world speaking to different groups of people, and I heard a lot of positive words in this room. See, entrepreneurs have a positive outlook on the future. That's why we're here, we're optimistic. But a lot of people are scared about AI taking their jobs. But here's what I know about being a founder. A lot of times we try to juggle it all, and do it all ourselves, right? Can anyone relate to that? Where you have too many plates and they fall, and things break, things happen. Instead, what we need to do, well, when that happens, now people are like, oh, let's go to AI. AI is great. Who remembers the first time you ever used ChatGPT and you were like, oh man, this is awesome. This is going to change the world. AI has the collective knowledge of everything any human has ever read or written before. And times the internet, times artificial intelligence, out of the box, it's pretty cool. But then, what did you notice starts to happen? Has anyone ever read like a post on LinkedIn and you can tell that the person used AI? It's like emojis everywhere, perfect title case, unlock, explore, dive, and delve, and you're like, AI slop, right? How do you feel about that? It feels soulless. It's void of any humanity and creativity, right? Or you see these AI images and it has like 8 fingers on the people, and AI videos where things look weird and it feels off. So AI is great, but it is not the answer alone. To really unlock the power of AI, you need to weave in your writing and speaking, your unique values and backgrounds and interests, your actual stories and experiences and your actual memories. And when you combine that with the power of AI and the collective knowledge of humanity and the internet, that is when you get explosive results. To unlock the real magic of AI, you have to fuse it with your authentic influence. That's the real AI, your authentic influence. Now, who remembers the Yellow Pages? Are you guys old enough to remember it? Okay. All right, a few people in here. All right. In the 1990s or so, if your business was not in the Yellow Pages, you practically didn't exist. But then along came search engines, and the Yellow Pages went extinct, right? Is anyone in here still advertising in the Yellow Pages? I hope not. All right. So we're all used to going to Google first, but something is happening. There's a shift in the marketplace. People are starting to go to AI first, or social media first. Raise your hand if you prefer going to AI, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Google, Gemini. Let's see, about a good 40% of the room prefers AI. Why? Because it gives you a straight answer. It doesn't give you any BS. It doesn't give you 7 blue links that you gotta scroll past and determine if somebody's legit. And then with social media, we get to look, touch, feel, experience a brand before we decide if we want to do business with them. So here's some data supporting that. As of September, 8% of all adults in the US their primary search is generative AI. Now, that's up from only 1% last year, so it's rising quickly. Google search has declined from 80% down to 74%, so almost that same gap, you're seeing that shift. And then 24% of all people in the world now use social media as their primary search tool. That's almost 1 in every 4 people. 46% of Gen Z use social media as their primary search tool. Literally almost half of Gen Z. And there's a 25% decline in traditional Google search between Gen Z and Gen X. So it's smart of you to be in this room today because you all are the forward thinkers. You're looking at the future because by understanding this trend, you can get ahead of it so that you don't get caught like those people who were still advertising in the Yellow Pages a few years ago. So what do we do about this? Well, we need to publish content everywhere. Written content, creative, visual content, we gotta be everywhere. You have to, in order to get attention these days. We have so many things competing for our attention. Notifications dinging, emails, a bunch of streaming channels, social media everywhere. So how do you compete? Well, you need to be everywhere because it diversifies your digital footprint. This is what feeds the AI engines, and it builds your backlinks and your SEO power. So SEO is not dead, it's just evolving. Plus, this gives you tons of content that you can repurpose for social media. And it reinforces your brand's long-term authority. Now, I know this is kind of hard to see, but you can take a picture of this and zoom in on it. What are the most widely used social media platforms in the US right now? You see that YouTube has the #1 spot by far. Now, let me tell you some things about YouTube. YouTube is the world's 2nd largest search engine. What's the world's largest search engine? Google. Who owns YouTube? Google. So, if your brand is not advertising on YouTube, you're missing out on a lot because not only do you get the benefit of social media, but you get the SEO boost. Whatever is being said in your YouTube video, it can get picked up. It gets picked up by Google. Not just the words in the description, but the words that are coming out of your mouth in the video that are being said. All of that gets shown on Google. Plus, on top of that, with YouTube videos, you notice that if you search something, you might get the result might be a YouTube video from 8 years ago. Whereas on social media, if something was 4 days ago, it's gone. Like you hardly ever see it unless you go look for it. So we need to have a strong presence on YouTube. And then right under that, we have Facebook and Instagram, both owned by the same company. And of course, TikTok coming up really, really fast. Now, there are a lot of people who are like, well, I'm not going to be on Facebook because only old people are on Facebook now. Or, oh, my brand, we're not on TikTok because that's for the kids and they're dancing and we don't dance and do all that stuff. Listen, you need to be everywhere. I don't know about you, but I'm hungry, and I know you're hungry, and we got to be out there. And you can be everywhere. It is possible, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming, and it doesn't have to be expensive. So what do we post on social media? Let's talk about the art of what I call story selling. So marketing is really just storytelling. I want you to kind of replace the word marketing in your mind with storytelling, because as humans, that's what we identify with, is stories. And you each have stories from your brand journey that you need to share that will resonate with your audience. Every post should educate, entertain, or inspire. You do one or all three of those things, and that is how you get shareable, savable content. Now, if you're educating, the easy way to do that is start speaking with how to. Then you're probably teaching someone something. Inspirational posts go from to, all right? But you need to make content that people want to share or save. We all see these icons at the bottom of social media: like, comment, share, save. The two that hold the biggest weight are share and save. My wife's always sending me reels on Instagram. It's like the new love language, right? You get somebody who's like always sending you reels all the time. Well, that's a signal to the algorithm that, hey, this is really important content. So we need to show it more. So if you want your content to be shown more organically, meaning for free without having to put money behind it, make it so that it is very shareable. Or this bookmark icon, if you're teaching educational content that people want to save and come back to later, then they're going to bookmark that. And that is also a signal to the algorithm to show your content to more people. All right, everyone with me? Okay. Now, there are a lot of storytelling models and formulas out there, but here it is on the most basic bare bone level. You start with a low point. I was here. And then you go to a high point. Now I'm here. And this, in the middle, is the vehicle that got me there. Y'all can take pictures of the screen if you want to. So anything you're trying to sell, you tell this same narrative. You see this all the time. Think about weight loss, for example. I was 60 pounds overweight. Now I have six-pack abs. All thanks to Ozempic, or whatever it is, right? Whatever the fitness book is. So your product, your service, your company is the vehicle that you want to tell in your narrative. You can do this with every product or service, okay? Make sure to include the kryptonite in your story. So many times we just want to talk about our superpowers and our accolades and our achievements. But did you know that when Superman in the comics first came out in 1938, he had no weaknesses. Superman was 100% invulnerable. He could not be defeated. It wasn't until 11 years later, in 1949, when the writers introduced kryptonite into the story. Why do you think they introduced kryptonite? Because people were getting bored. Yeah, they were losing readership, so they had to make the story interesting. And to make it interesting, you have to show weakness and vulnerability. Even if you fast forward to today's Superman movie that just came out a few months ago, the first image you see is Superman falling out of the sky and bleeding on the ground. Because modern writers know that that is what makes you relatable. All right, everyone understand? So it's not about your social media highlight reel that we all want to show. We got to get a little deeper and vulnerable as founders and show what we've overcome to our audience. I'm scared to touch it because then it won't go out. All right. That's a prayer. I think we did. Yeah. All right. Now, here's how I learned this by accident. And you might want to take a picture of your screen because this is an exercise where you get a blank sheet of paper. We did this in this mastermind program. You get a blank sheet of paper, and on one side, you have your birth, and on the other side you have the current day. We call this a lifeline. And you're not going to tell your whole life story. And we did this in a very confidential environment where I trusted the process. And you're not telling your whole life story, but you're sharing only the lowest moments in your life and the highest moments in your life, okay? And everybody gets about 20 minutes to do this. So I had never shared anything like this before, but I got really deep and vulnerable. And I shared some stuff that I had never told anyone. Like, the earliest memory I have is my parents getting divorced. And then when I was in college, I got arrested multiple times. I got kicked out of college and suspended. And then I was working for 2 years. I worked at a strip club taking out the trash right here in Atlanta. And then one day on my way to the strip club, I got carjacked at gunpoint. I lost everything. And then my business went through a nasty lawsuit later. This was dark stuff I didn't want anyone to know. I only wanted to share like all the great stuff, like founding my business and getting married and having kids, and when my business first hit that $1 million revenue mark. So, another thing. Oh, the computer's fine. It's just crazy. But we're gonna keep going. So when you do this exercise and you have this lifeline and you can, and that shows you, because people, I know you can see it now, what resonated with you most? What do you find most interesting on that chart? The bad stuff, right? Nobody wants to hear about all the great stuff. That's what I want to talk about because it makes me feel good. But people resonate with the negative stuff. So by sharing that, what happened, coming out of that meeting, I went to, one of the guys in the meeting was like, yo, you need some HDMI cable. Yeah. So one of the guys in the meeting, he said, hey, I know this reporter, and I think you should talk to him. This is my friend Kevin. I said, Kevin, man, I didn't want to share any of that stuff, so I'm not going to talk to a reporter, dude. And he's like, look, here's his card, just reach out, just trust him, give him a call. And I luckily did. The reporter came out to my office and interviewed me. And then 2 weeks later, my phone started blowing up. I was getting text messages, phone calls. And I was on the front page of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution business section. That's Atlanta's largest newspaper. And I was on the front page of the business section 3 times in that same year. And I ran into that reporter later, and he told me that, he said, man, your story was the most shared out of the whole time I ran that Secrets of Success talk. But get this, it's not about the accolades and the great things that I wanted to know. The headline said, businessman had an epiphany at gunpoint. It had all my business out there. Now, it did generate a lot of attention for my business, but I had to share that deep, vulnerable stuff. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Now, the next thing is, when we get overwhelmed in business, what do? We can't juggle it all. We should not just turn to AI and hand it all to AI. So the framework that I have for this, I say when you have tasks, eat every task. EAT. Eliminate it, automate it, or team it out. Okay? Now, there are tons of things that we do in business that we probably shouldn't be doing, that are time-consuming tasks. Like, for example, in my business, I have an embroidery company. We do screen printing, embroidery, Greek paraphernalia, that type of thing. It's called Zeus's Closet, like a tattoo cut for your clothes. You already look like that, didn't you?
I'm Greek, so.
Oh, you're Greek, okay. So we specialize in like these really elaborate jackets. That's like our strong point. We even have people like wear them on Grammys and stuff like that. Stuff with Rick Ross, a lot of entertainers. But at one point we were doing all these like little trinkets of license plates and keychains because we thought that's what we needed to do. And that we had people staffed just to handle complaints when the keychains and the license plates and the stuff were taking a long time. And so that was not our core thing. And once we got rid of that, we eliminated it, it freed us up to really focus on what made us strong. So what in your business are you doing now that you should probably eliminate? And then the second thing is automation. So, is that it? Okay. So when we went through that lawsuit in our business, it was a really, really tough, dark time for us. I had to figure out how to do more with less, how to get the marketing done without hiring humans, because I didn't have money to hire humans. So that's when I first learned marketing automation back in 2011. Learned how to automate all of our email sequences, social media, distribution, all of that kind of stuff. And we just adopted an automation first mindset. And that, it's me. There we go. There we go. Oh, so that, yeah. So this was the agency article. This has been Epiphany Couple. I'm gonna, for the sake of time, I'm gonna move fast through some of this. But make sure you're everywhere on social media. You can post the same thing on one platform, or post the same video on Instagram, got 200 views, same video got 203 views on TikTok. So don't ignore certain platforms. Now, this is a checklist of how you can be everywhere. These are all the things you need to do. You might want to take a picture of this. And I've determined that this workflow is the best way to approach it. So by having your long form written content and then chopping that into your short form written content, your tweets, and then your videos, your long form videos, and then your short form videos. That way you can be everywhere all at once. And I'm going to tell you how to do this now, because a lot of you are thinking, oh, this is overwhelming. I don't have time to do it. So how do you do it? Well, not like this guy. So E, like I just told you, eliminate, automate it, team it out. These are a lot of things that we're doing now that you can eliminate. Just take a picture of this. Sometimes I'm not going to go through everything, but data entry, unnecessary meetings, micromanaging, things you can automate, your CRM, your email and SMS campaigns, appointment scheduling. We have AI answering our phones, things like that, employee onboarding, HR. And then things that you should team out. Your graphic design, your branding, your visual identity, your video, your motion graphics. Don't just delegate this to AI because you don't want to be one of those soulless companies. We have AMAKA, which is doing some remarkable things. Scan this QR code and check them out because they make it super easy for you to have a whole creative team at your disposal at a fraction of the price. And that way you keep the soul and the humanity in all of your video and all of your creative because you have humans working with you, but it's done in a simple way where you use AI to just tell them what you want. When you have AI powered with your outsourced team, like AMAKA, you get so much done at a fraction of the price, and you keep your unique energy signature in there. Your story, that's what makes you special. Don't lose that, and don't get written off and dismissed because somebody sees that you're just using AI. Like I told you all before, a lot of people think, they're scared. AI will take my job. But this room, we look at it a different way. We think, yes, AI will take my job. Because we know that AI is a growth opportunity. It's going to allow us to 10x ourselves. It makes us more hireable. It allows us more freedom and to make a bigger impact. So the truth is, yes, AI will take your job if your job is soulless, busy worker. Those are the people who are scared. The skill set of the very near future will be humans managing digital employees, learning how to build and deploy AI bots, agents, whatever we want to call them. The words will change. You are going to be expected to work with human team members and synthetic team members the same way. It's all going to be merged together. So go ahead and adopt that now. Because that will allow us, it will free us up to do more of what makes us human and to enjoy these live experiences like this, things that AI can't replicate. So action items, because winners take action, right? Here's what I want you to do. First, list 10 tasks that you do in your business every day that you can eliminate, automate, or team out. Then I want you to draft your founder-led story. Going through that exercise I shared with you, where you plot the lowest points in your life and business and the highest points, and that way you can share those connections. One of those connections that came out in that meeting was, I told you all how I got suspended from college. Well, 10 years after that, I received an award from my college for business growth. And the person who presented it to me was the same president who had suspended me 10 years earlier. Seriously.
People change.
Yes, people change. People change. And that was a full circle moment for me, but I didn't really connect those dots in my brain until I did this exercise. So I encourage you to do this. And then connect with AMAKA Studio. Go and check them out. Scan this QR code. You can just type in AI what you need, and you have a full creative team at your disposal. You have creators, you have video motion artists, photo and videographers, content marketers, and founder-led content marketing. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my keynote for today. We're going to have a little bit of Q&A, and I can't wait to see what you build. I am extremely proud of each and every one of you because entrepreneurship is what makes the world go round. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ethan. So, Ethan, so I think one of the main things that you really discuss is discussing, the challenges and the hardships and going to building multiple seven-figure businesses. And at AMAKA, that's what we do to really help the creatives and businesses make that leap. So my question is, what lessons from your journey do you think are most important for creatives today as they really look to really harness AI to scale more affordably, but also sustainably as well?
So the biggest lesson is look at AI as a partner, not as a replacement for anyone. So AI is meant to amplify what already makes you great, or whatever already makes your team members great. So for example, a lot of people look at AI. I was on a workshop yesterday in Cleveland. Someone said, "This feels like cheating. Is this cheating?" And I was like, I said, listen, we all learn long division in 5th grade, right? Everybody knows how to do long division. But if you're asking me a really complex problem like, how do you divide 2,057,000 by 38? If I pulled out a piece of paper and started writing it down, what would you think? This guy's weird. Why didn't he pull out a calculator?
Yeah.
That's where we're going with AI. It's like we're going to have an expectation of working with AI. So let's go ahead and get used to it now and look at it as our partner to amplify what we already do. So I have knowledge of marketing psychology, the storytelling. They put that into your AI, into your prompts, and tell it when you work with someone like AMAKA, you work with the designers and let them know your story so that they know what to pull out and what to publish.
Yeah.
So that would be my main thing. Like, look, be a thought partner. It's a conversation. It's not a commanded go-to.
Thank you, Ethan. Yeah, I think that's something that we speak about a lot as well, is that people are trying to continuously replicate various different kinds of content, and then having your own kind of narrative isn't something, it's literally unique to you. Nobody can replicate your identity, and so that's something that we harp on about a lot. But I wanted to really talk about the EAT framework, eliminate and automate and team it. And it really resonates obviously with what we offer in outsourcing, etc. But which of the three, out of those three, do you feel like are the most underutilized out of those three elements, and why do you think that is?
Yeah, I would say that the most underutilized is probably automation, because a lot of people find it daunting. And here's what I tell people. The reason that we're the biggest revolution that we'll probably see in our lifetimes is because you don't need to be a coder anymore. If you know plain English and you can talk, if you can copy paste, if you can type, you can build so many apps today. There's a website called there'sanaIforthat.com that has like 40,000 different AI tools for any task you can imagine. Because people like you and me, if you have an idea for an app now, you don't have to go pay a developer $100,000. You can go on like Reddit and build it yourself, or on Mobile and build it yourself. So that's where the tide is changing, is because people, and it's underutilized because people are intimidated by it, but there's no need to be intimidated by it. Go on YouTube, take courses, just learn how to do this stuff, and grab a cup of coffee and sit down and do it. It is way easier than you think. And then the teaming it out part, in this post-COVID world, I know COVID was very disruptive for a lot of things, but one thing it did for us in our company is it forced us to look at how we employ differently. I was just telling you in the hallway, we had like 20 people running around our office all the time, and then it was like we were stuck. We thought that this is the way we had to do it. But then after COVID, people were forced to go to remote positions, and then some things we had to automate. So now it's like 4 people that actually have to come into the office, and we have people all over the world, in the States and in different countries. So being able to team it out like this, like AMAKA offers, is another mindset shift.
And I think just kind of touching on that, but going into the future, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, like how do you think, the intersection of AI and outsourcing teams, especially like AMAKA as well, will kind of change and evolve, and how do you think founders should prepare for that?
Yeah, a lot like we just discussed. I mean, get used to having coworkers who are digital, and they're going to get better and better. You know, ChatGPT 5 just came out, right? And we all probably like, oh, this is amazing. But 5 years from now, we're going to look back on the current today's ChatGPT and be like, man, that was some primitive BS. Like, what was that? Yeah. Because it's advancing at such a rapid rate. So you're going to have coworkers that you can talk to in plain English that you might have to second guess and be like, wait, oh yeah, this person's not human. I got to remember I'm talking to AI. That's how the lines are going to start to be blurred. So let's go ahead and get used to that. Listen, I talk to my ChatGPT all the time. Did anybody else in here talk to their ChatGPT? Like, I was just in the car yesterday riding home from the airport, having a whole conversation with Chat the whole time. I built like my future self in ChatGPT and I have conversations with him. His name is Elder Ethan. For real, yeah. And he guides me, he opens my eyes to things because of the way I built it. So that's what we got to get used to. That's where the future is headed. Look, our grandkids might be dating AI. No. Listen. Hey, you know, at one point, interracial marriage was very controversial. You know, gay marriage was controversial and outlawed. Yeah. People thought that was strange. I know it doesn't seem like that now, but people thought that was strange. And we're gonna get to a point where, yeah, my granddaughter might be bringing home an AI boy. My wife's over there like, no.
Actually not, no. Thank you so much, Ethan. Yes, so we're gonna open it up to everyone for questions. So pass it on to you. Oh, on the spot. So.
Good morning. Adaora, Ethan, thanks for being here. My question is in in the ability to be efficient with teaming it out, how are you all answering IP issues and making sure that a founder, when they give that team, that teaming it out, like how does that IP structure happen?
Maybe I can take this one. I think definitely IP is it's a really, really big, not only problem, but great importance for us as well. Especially when we have founders and creatives who, post their work on AMAKA, that is their IP. I know there's a lot of various different platforms that are like, that is your, what you share isn't actually yours anymore. And then when they lock you out of your actual, intellectual properties. But with AMAKA, that's not what we believe in, especially when the majority of people who work with us are Black African creatives, and I don't think you have a lot of autonomy over that. And then even when you're, working with different kinds of suppliers and creatives, again, as a business, that is your IP. So I think it's just really important to be being cognizant of the platforms you use, even just thinking about AI, I've had to just make sure that AI cannot use certain data that I put into this chatbot, and there actually are settings where the default setting is that you consent. So you have to actually go back and say, I actually don't consent. So I think it's just really important when you're working with platforms, inputting your data, AI, it's just making sure that you have a lot of agency and autonomy over what you're putting in and what you're building out as well. I don't know if you wanted to answer.
Yeah, I just touched on that. If you're dealing with stuff that's very sensitive, never put your personally identifiable information in AI. Of course, you say of course, but some people if you're the CEO of Coca-Cola, don't put the secret formula in AI, even if you have a team account, an enterprise level account. Now, if you're dealing with super sensitive information like legal stuff, you might want to consider upgrading, because at the enterprise and team levels, that sharing is off by default. Whereas with the personal versions, then it's on by default that your data is shared with the world. Okay.
So yeah, based on this presentation, it seems that you guys are both big supporters of bootstrapping and also big supporters of selling a story that's unique to the founder. And so my question for you both actually is, how much do you think that delegating work and scaling too fast or early will affect the trajectory of the business and the personal story of the founder?
So the issue with scaling too fast is you can sometimes take your eye off of important things that can wreck you.
I mean, honestly, looking back in hindsight, that's how we ended up in that lawsuit, is because I wasn't paying attention to details. Like scaling, we were just focused on growth, and a letter came in the mail from an attorney, and we ignored it. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. The mail can pile up. So looking at those details, you gotta pay attention. You don't want something to derail you. I'm in a lot of different mastermind groups and things like that, and I highly suggest that everyone be involved with other entrepreneurs so that you're not in a silo, because I've seen other people crash and burn, and I've learned from their mistakes. That's the shortcut to life. Learn from other people's mistakes so you don't make the same ones. So that's why I take scaling at a more cautious and comfortable pace now than just kind of breaking everything and then having to rebuild from scratch. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. And I can even add to that. To my story, I raised the seed round over $2 million and have used that to really scale and grow AMAKA at the very beginning. But I would definitely say it's just, if I could go back, I probably would have actually just mainly focused on just the bootstrapping immediately and just looking at not only just validating the concept with what you have, but also looking at ways to kind of restructure your business on ways that it's more affordable. And that's how I feel like at the start, I feel like I moved too fast. But then looking at the model that we have with outsourcing and then now leveraging AI, the outsourcing of talent was a lot more affordable for us. Just looking at how we can experiment better as well, more cheaply, quickly. If you're really into being a startup founder, just making sure that you experiment and fail fast immediately. But that also means not taking money so quickly so much, because you won't have the space to fail quickly and to figure things out. So that's kind of what I would say is, especially from how I started out.
So if you could go back, would you bootstrap rather than business?
I would probably do both. Maybe also because I have investors, so I can't really be saying that. But I think there's honestly no right or wrong answer. It really depends on you. There are some businesses that like scaling aggressively is what you need, and sometimes you do need to raise funds to get somewhere. But just because you didn't raise funds doesn't mean you're not a good business. There are really great businesses that bootstrapped are profitable. A lot of businesses that have grown quickly are not profitable for years. So I think it really depends on your specific goals. Like I can't give like a right or wrong answer.
Okay. How did you recover from those mistakes you made? Share?
How did I recover? That's a really great question. Basically the experimentation part. I think again it's just making sure that we have a structure around, again, failing quickly and failing fast, and having that structure around experimentation, what works, what doesn't, being aggressive with reporting weekly. Why is this working? Why is this not working weekly? I think a lot of businesses, and something that I actually didn't do at the start, I didn't report weekly. I think we were looking at things monthly, and I changed that within, I think 9 months of the business, and that really changed quite a lot of things. So I'd say that's what actually helped me a lot. Yeah.
If you're an innovative business like AMAKA, and speed to market is important because a competitor might beat you, then that's when you might want to raise money versus bootstrapping the slow.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have a question?
Yes. I had a question because I think this is something that you addressed earlier in your talk about how when we think about AI, we think of all the positives. And AI has now empowered many of us non-technical folks. I don't know if anyone's non-technical.
I'm non-technical.
Yes, to feel like we can do it all and that we don't really need the technical co-founder or that technical expertise. But I do want you to address some of the pitfalls of AI. Because as someone who has used the Replits and what was the other one, Lovable, there is a point that you get with these AI tools where they can't do everything for you. So you're building out a platform in Lovable, and then towards the end of your building process, you go to deploy it, and then there's all these, error messages coming on. You're having all these issues, and you're trying to figure out, well, I'm not technical, I don't know how to code. So there is a screen where you can navigate to the code and figure out where the bugs are. It's like, okay, well, I'm not technical, I don't know anything about decoding or debugging apps, how do I go about this? You know, what happens also on the other hand, which is something that I've heard a lot of, is founders using AI to build their tools and then having security issues. There was another platform, I think it was a platform, its name's not coming to the top of my head, but it was essentially like a dating platform for women where they could essentially put comments. Well, the T app. And the T app just a few months ago came into some backlash because their data was leaked. Like all the people who are uploading their faces, all the women that are uploading their faces and their IDs to kind of identify themselves as women, to be able to have the access to this app, all that information was leaked. And that's because a lot of their infrastructure was built on AI and automation, and there wasn't a very strong security in the background. So how does one navigate outside of outsourcing talent these pitfalls of AI if you are a non-technical founder trying to build a technical solution?
Great question.
That was a little long-winded.
No, excellent question. And I know we only touched on the kind of creative side today, but where we need to do, so you do need a developer. Like coders aren't going to be replaced by AI. So you need, but what's going to happen is the expectation will shift. Instead of hiring a coder to do one project, a coder, I'm going to expect them to be a manager of a bunch of different things and a troubleshooter of AI. Because I've been in that same situation. You hit a wall at some point where I just don't have the knowledge. So I need a coder to help. So the expectation will be for that coder to produce 10 times more than they produce today because they have AI at their disposal. So whatever your skill set is, coding is just one part of it, creative is just one part of it, but like what's your training? What you go to school for? What do you have background in?
I'm non-technical, so I have like client success, customer success, a little bit of marketing in my background.
Okay, so that is where you would shine. So where a coder would hit a wall in those areas where you have knowledge and expertise. That's where we're going now, and you can magnify your skill set with AI. The same way that coder can magnify their skill set with AI, but we will still need to depend on each other for the troubleshooting and the management. Okay, so you got to keep building your team like that.
Thank you so much.
More questions in the back? You need a mic or? Any of you? Yeah. Ladies first.
Hi. Thanks for sharing. So my question is around the marketing piece, right? So I'll give you an example of myself. So I'm in responsible AI, and whenever I talk to a marketing person, they will help me with the videos. So I create cartoons of, what happens when there's AI hallucinations. I also do technical trainings on helping people. I find that the marketer doesn't necessarily understand the field, so there's a gap. And when they come at the marketing, it feels very soft because they don't know the theme. However, when I explain the theme, I still can't pass that message enough with them. So how do you bridge domain expertise with the creative side as a founder?
Got it. You want to have it?
I just want to make sure I understand your question. So it's essentially the certain expertise that you have. How do you make sure that it's being translated accurately within AI?
No. Within the creative person. So if I employ
a social
media person, how they pass my message, sometimes I feel they don't get that domain expertise. And when I try to communicate that to them, they still don't get it. And so there's like this alignment of expectation and quality.
Are you hiring someone better than you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's just one of my first questions.
That's an excellent question. So it's about communicating to that creative and getting them to understand your vision, and then them being able to execute your vision accurately. And sometimes we're missing the mark. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is another great use case for AI. Use AI to illustrate to the creative what you want. I'll give you an example. Let's say you wanted to run a Super Bowl ad for your company. Go to something like Google VO3 or ChatGPT Sora and have ChatGPT say, right, since you know about my company, give me a prompt to put into an AI video generator to create a Super Bowl ad for my company. And then run it. And it's going to give you a crap Super Bowl ad. But it'll give you some ideas. And then you can know, I kind of like that. I don't like that.
and then you can tweak it in the prompts to give a rough draft to your designer. So now you're not communicating just with words, but with actual visuals, and then they can go make it with real people to put that soul into it. All right?
I think we only have time for one more question.
All right, last question.
I'm so sorry.
Hi y'all, my name is David Curtis from Ticket. I have a question specific to AMAKA mostly, but I think you touched it. You mentioned that when you're innovative, you want to be ahead of the curve. You don't want to move too slow, because when you move too slow, someone else might take the idea and run with it, and it will get you to the finish line. That's happened in so many cases. So in your case, when you were raising $2 million, you said, for your startup, what are some of the key things that you showed at that early stage? I'm guessing you were still pre-seed, most likely?
Yes.
And you showed to the investors that helped them to say, okay, I know you're still pre-seed, but I can see the value of what you're doing. I can see the future from here, and I understand that if I invest now, I'll be able to, achieve success.
Yes.
Like that. So what was that?
That's a really great question, and I think it might contradict what we've been saying about, I guess, automation and technology. Basically, I was validating a concept before building anything. And I would just strongly encourage founders, do not build anything until you've validated it, because you're just going to spend time, money, and effort on big mistakes. And I've actually learned that as well. So the way that I validated a lot of what we built was we were basically kind of like a smaller traditional agency, and I was noticing some problems with price and accessibility, when it came to speed, when it came to lack of knowledge about African talent, as well as connecting them with US-based businesses. But a lot of the things that we focused on was very manual, doing very scrappy tests and showing that traction at the beginning. And then also, before that, I even had like a deck of the concept before I even built anything. So it was just kind of, again, you have that traction of manually validating it, but you also kind of have conveying the vision and storytelling. And it's kind of like what Ethan said, the story selling. I guess it's just not to a consumer, it's more to an investor. But now in this age, and then added on top of being a Black founder, and added on top of being a Black female founder, and then having all of these wars and everything going on, it was very, very tough. And it will still be very tough where investors do not want to invest in ideas. Even now, the white boys that used to be able to raise with just a little idea are struggling a little bit now because they want like traction. So I think it's just really important to validate without building first. What is that scrappy thing you can do immediately before going and running to an engineer to build something? Just literally, what is that, the minuscule thing that you can do that you can launch quickly and fast and affordably? That's what I did.
All right, well, thank you all very much. Listen, before you pause, hold that, because I do want to pause. But I encourage each and every one of you, first, thank you for your energy. Y'all have been an amazing audience. I can tell that this is a very promising one. We have some amazing business leaders of the future sitting in this room today. Use AI to amplify what already makes you special, what already makes you great. And I cannot wait to see the future that you build. Thank you all for your time today.